James. How are you? Good deal.
Thanks for coming down.
Hey, Jordan. How are you? Good. 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 How's your travel down?
Actually, not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We go the right direction.
It was looking pretty slow.
Oh, that's not good.
Good to see you again.
You guys well.
Let me go make sure.
He told me you have to sit where the old chiefs used to sit.
Right at the door.
Throw people out. Yeah, just so I can see what it's doing.
Yeah, that's true.
They get that other camera.
Speak from the back of the bus.
I'm good. Tired.
Of what?
Go.
No, I think it was such a good idea.
The city of Fruitland last night, that lasted until 11. It's like, before you get tired. No. Then I got another city council meeting tomorrow, and then another one on Thursday. So I'm like,
You poor man, you.
oh, I can even.
I would happily do that.
Hot seats back.
Thank you.
They can go look really fast.
I think they leave it for. Good. How are you doing? Yeah. Did you?
It was me and Becky.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. We just
Engineers are gonna talk. I didn't bring a pillow.
Yeah. Yeah. We did a little gardening and the boys made dinner. So it was nice. Yeah. Hamburgers. It was simple, but hey, I appreciate it. So yeah. Got to hang with my mom. You?
Actually, engineers are becoming
Do you want an earbud? With the left ear, because I use the right ear.
It's not working. So mine, I have to restart it to get it to
I did.
connect to the internet here.
Had on there was Wednesday,
Oh,
but I
jeez.
don't use it.
Getting firmware, that'll take a while.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
No, if they ask me a question, I'll be. No, I'll cheat after.
That's perfect. Whatever you need.
Did you guys get through all those annexation? Did you really? I was like, that you liked otherwise, like someone else.
No, I just did poking around.
Yeah. Right direction. That one was huge. I was like, you know, where you're like, well, how long is this chapter? Let's just pause. I did that number. It's one tree. Yeah, can't you just go? It would only be noticeable.
Maybe it's so noticeable.
You could say, I'm getting a PB&J. I'll be right back.
Right. And then just go get it.
All right, man. Ready when you
Ready?
are. Yep.
Let's get the show on the road. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll. Council, will you please turn your mics on?
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Councilwoman Workala.
Present.
Councilman McCarthy.
Present.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Council, before we get down to recognizing person in the audience, I'd like to amend the agenda and add executive session 74206B if possible. Is that something you guys will let me add?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla?
Yes, absolutely. And I also want to amend the agenda. This will be a motion. I move to amend the agenda, create an action item under new business to appoint 2 appointees to P&Z as what was voted on and passed at the prior council meeting due to and the reason being due to number 12 being on the consent agenda and to be voted on tonight.
12.
On the consent agenda.
So add 2 appointees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sent that to Waller, Topher. So, okay, so there's a motion. Is that your motion?
Mhm.
Okay, there's a motion to add, say that again, please.
Yeah, sure. So I move to amend the agenda to create an action item under new business to appoint 2 appointees to P&Z as what was voted on and passed at the prior council meeting. Reason being due to number 12 on the consent agenda as an item to be voted on tonight.
We do that, Paul?
Amend the agenda to include an action item.
Yeah.
The only thing that stands in its way, but I'm not going to have a heartache about it, is to why it wasn't amended to 48 hours out, to the extent that it would be quote unquote an emergency and all that. But if this was something that was substantive in nature, I would probably shut it down. But if it's just to appoint P and Z, I'm not going to have a heartache about it. But technically, that's the impediment.
Mayor,
So, Councilman, I think we have the two that we voted on last time, right? Like we voted to add two, right?
So Mayor, they needed to be appointed and then we vote on them. So they were never put on tonight's agenda
Be-
for us to vote.
Because
two.
I didn't have two to, to bring forward.
You had 5.
Right, I had 5.
So 2 of the 5 you were going to pick and you were going to put them on the agenda for us to vote on who to appoint.
Correct.
But they didn't make it on.
Because I haven't picked the 2.
So I'm asking you to pick the 2 tonight. You have plenty of time.
Okay. That's a new one. I've never had that
So,
before.
Paul?
She wants me to pick 2 people from the 5. You know what I mean? Of the
That's within your
purviews.
executive if you want to do that.
So I sent it to the P&Z commission to pick. Like, give me your recommendation to get a better understanding who they feel that would be best suited for the commission as well.
So to my understanding, Paul, he appoints, we discuss as a council, and then we vote on.
Affirm.
Yes, affirm that. Correct.
Okay, so we've had 2 weeks to do that. We've had 2 weeks because the motion was made by Councilman Harjo. I seconded it, and it passed by the mayor, tiebreaker vote, to appoint 2 people that applied of the 5 for the impact fee committee. Well, the impact fee committee and the P&Z is now rejoined together. So the motion was to put them together, and then 2 of the 5 that applied would be appointed. So now I'm asking for tonight, because they've been in the air for 2 weeks, to appoint 2 people that applied out of the 5.
Right. And I hope you, the logic doesn't escape that what in essence you're doing is if he refuses to do it, you're basically like saying that you want a motion of the council to compel him to do it, which
Mayor,
is an ultra virus act that you
legal,
can't do.
understand, then I will refuse to vote on number 12, which he's asking to approve the consulting agreement with Tish Galena Incorporated regarding City of Mountain Home impact fees and authorize the mayor to sign because we have not established our committee as what was voted on, motioned and voted on.
And that's certainly within your prerogative to not vote on.
So if he doesn't want me to vote against this request that's on the consent agenda, I'm asking the mayor for you to please add my motion to the agenda.
These are not legal issues. This is you guys playing nice. And so I'll leave you to it. But yeah, you're welcome to amend the agenda and no one can force you to make a decision.
Well, actually,
And nobody
no,
could
this will
force
be
her
fun,
to vote
because
on 12.
I haven't had the opportunity to ask them if they're willing to sit on the P&Z either. So let's just do the name hat thing. We'll just throw them in the name of the hat and we'll just pick 2. Instead
I
of
don't have a
asking
hat.
somebody if they want to sit on it. So I don't know.
Mayor,
Councilman.
they've had 2 weeks to know that the committees have been combined back together. So they know that's part of the stipulation, right? I've talked to one of them today who said that they never heard anything from the city. That individual talked to another one that applied and said they haven't heard anything from the city. So they were waiting for the city to reach out to them for that request or for that invite. Do you want to serve? And that hasn't been asked.
Right.
So do you want me to wait 2 more weeks and now we're a month out from establishing the motion that was made and seconded and that you were the tiebreaker vote? Do you want to wait a month out? We need to get on this impact fee / P&Z committee to figure out where we are at with our growth, our proper growth.
Okay, let's just stick them in a hat. We'll make it easy for you. You got a name, we'll put them on a piece of paper, we'll throw them in a hat. If you're going to force me to do something without talking to somebody, I thought, so in my defense, or in not my defense, I asked, I sent it to Mr. Waller, and maybe I was assuming, I didn't get a response from him that maybe he was doing it, but that's my assumption.
Did Mr. Wallet respond?
That's what I'm saying. No, he didn't respond. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, fine. To move this along, if that's your motion,
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a second. Maybe
Okay.
council doesn't want to do it.
Second.
there you go. Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilman McCarthy?
For clarification, for the executive session, are we adding it for?
Oh, after, sorry.
Okay, perfect. Don't want to kick
Yep,
it.
no, you're good.
Thank you.
Yep. Any further discussion? Sorry. Councilman Sanders?
Is there a second to the exec
Yes.
Second.
of them?
Yep.
I was just ensuring.
Councilman Sanders?
I didn't call. You're calling for the vote?
Yes, sir. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Orkla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Okay. Action item number 3. No. New business number 6. Okay. Let's get down to recognizing person in the audience. Would somebody like to get up and speak for 3 minutes? What? Oh.
James Newton, Mayor Sykes and council members. For those with city fiber, think back to life before you had it. For those without it, how many of you have struggled with unreliable internet, broken promises, and switching providers just to keep searching for something better? That frustration is everyday life with many residents here in town. A neighbor recently told me that he got satellite internet and said I should too. But that should not be the answer within the city limits. Satellite internet has an important purpose. It was designed for rural, remote, and hard to reach areas where wired infrastructure is not practical. It should not be a plan for neighborhoods inside a mountain home when the city already has a public fiber utility that can be expanded. I understand some people choose not to use the fiber for personal reasons, financial or other reasons, but that's their choice. But residents who do want reliable fiber service are willing to participate should be given a fair opportunity to connect. Using Mountain Homes posted fiber costs, if the estimated $3,500 installation cost is paid up front, residents would pay about $26 to $43 per month for the 1 gig service, depending on the plan that you choose. If the $3,500 installation cost is financed over 10 years, City Fiber comes out to about $55 to $72 per month before interest, then drops once the installation cost is paid off. By comparison, Zito Media advertises 1 gig service for $91 a month before taxes, plus price never drops, and fiber must be installed to your residence before you get those folks. Now, if this council is not going to move the city fiber utility forward, then what is your alternative? What is your plan to fix the poor broadband availability in Mountain Home? What is your plan to bring real competition to neighborhoods still stuck with limited choices and unreliable speeds during peak hours? If this council chooses not to move this utility forward, then I respectfully ask you to amend Title 10, including Section 10-1-4, that says the city has no obligation to provide access to any provider or subscriber and reserve the right to limit and refuse access on sole discretion. If the city is going to reserve that level of control, then it has a responsibility to move it forward. But if not, residents should not be stuck with a city fiber utility that they cannot access and limiting private fiber providers who might be willing to build infrastructure if given a chance. Mountain Home needs better internet, either with fiber expansion or better fiber provider competition. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Rachel Summers with Mountain Home Irrigation District. I'm the secretary of the organization. I'm just here to invite you guys all to come visit our tunnels. We want to show you our irrigation system. Eric has wanted to do a tour with all you guys to answer any questions, show the improvements and the what needs to be done. He did try to get a hold of a couple of you and has had no luck. So I'm inviting you guys for a tour. Anyways, if you can contact me via email or a phone call, Tiffany's got my information so we can schedule up a date. So we'd like to see you guys all there. So yeah, and bring a list of questions, please. So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Derek Orvis. I'm here on a couple of matters. One you might be familiar with, the perfect storm that is a drought, higher cost of fertilizer, and diesel for our local farm area. So I'm curious and a little concerned about the involvement of Mountain Home and what we're going to be doing to look out for our farmers and our communities and kind of leave a little bit of that pressure regarding the possibility of a food instability based off of increased costs. I know you might not be able to do a lot, but I do know that the city council and the mayor both have quite a bit of power to get some stuff done. So that was my concerns, is how can we move forward with that? I've been brainstorming it myself, and I'll send out an email with my ideas, so you guys don't have to take a long list. But I am here on behalf of a couple other people who had some observations in town. Ever since town has been increasing, there's been more traffic, there's been more people, and I would like to see sidewalks and ADA sidewalks updated to ADA. My friend said that she was walking up 18th, and 18th has no sidewalk, and she sees that there's wheelchair wheels, stroller wheels, kids' feet, stomping around in there. So we have, a pretty major road that doesn't have a sidewalk, and that's not counting the roads that don't have the access portion. I can't tell you how many scoots. I don't know what you would call them, but a lot of them, some of them are veterans, seniors, disabled. They're on the road going to, on Airbase, going up 18th, down. And we have the mailboxes on the sidewalks, people on bicycles. We're at that point where people are limiting how they drive because gas prices have essentially, that their budget has been doubled for gas. So I have more friends walking, not only with the heat, there's not very many places to sit, rest, get some shade. It would be nice to see more drinking fountains around, public drinking fountains, and having a traffic safety advisory board, especially with the growth of Mountain Home. I know you can't lower the speed limit through downtown by Railroad Park, but since that is going to be kind of a busing area, I might as well look into possibly having more signage, safer streets to walk down on, a site to cross the street, more visibility. And we have new people coming to town. We have people walking down the underpass that connects Airbase to. It would be great to have some signs saying that there's a tunnel right here. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how you guys would figure that out, but signs would be the easiest method. So yeah, that's all. I appreciate you guys' time.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As I sent to all of you, including Tiffany, an email this afternoon regarding the LED sign in Railroad Park. And I'm going to read it to be read on record so that the public can hear it as well. I'm writing to ask why Bridging the Gap Suicide Bullying, a nonprofit, was denied to use the Railroad Park display LED sign. It was requested on Tuesday, May 5th, 26, to place a notice on the board that the Elmore County Health Coalition would be the guest speakers on May 9th. Tiffany responded on May 6th, 2026 by email stating it would be posted that day. The next email from Tiffany, Mayor, you denied the request without providing any reason, nor did you offer a response to my request. Tiffany, I'm sorry you were put in the middle of us. I've attached 3 different notifications from City Hall encouraging citizens to utilize the sign for nonprofit community events that are open and free to the public. Bridging the Gap has been allowed access several times in the past. I would like to know what has changed. Council, I ask that ordinances be written in detail on what is and isn't accepted as nonprofit community event. and who can use the publicly owned sign. You are more and Mountain Home City Youth Council are both nonprofit with similar missions. Please explain to me what the difference is. I will bring a copy of this email to the meeting tonight. A couple of the Facebook posts and a letter out of the city's policy, I believe. The first Facebook page is, did you know the city has a digital message board for community announcements? Here's what you need to know about posting. Official city, council hall, public emergency messages, events and activity within Mountain Home city limits, Chamber of Commerce, Mountain Home Arts Council announcements. Requirements: must appeal to wide audience, event must be open to public, no commercial or personal gain, no personal messages accepted, messages posted come first served with priority levels. And there's two more that you have in your packet, so please review them so that we can move forward with a purpose. Thank you. Oh, and just a quick reminder, I didn't bring any lemon cake.
Oh, lemon cake?
You requested it or made mention of it.
All right, anybody else? All right, we're gonna run down to Intif. Let's see if anything gets pulled on here. If they pull something from the consent agenda.
They haven't yet.
Okay, we're gonna go down to conflict of interest. Has any council member received information pertaining to otherwise had any contact with any person regarding any items on the city council? If so, please set forth the nature of contact.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I have had contacts with Terry Manduca. Received an email from a Nicholas Gagan. I've had conversations with John Christopher and Paris Dickerson. And then an associated number of city staff. If you want their names, I'll provide them. None of them represent a conflict of interest.
Perfect.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
I received an email from Nicholas Gajan.
Okay. Councilman McCarthy.
I've received an email from Nicholas Gadigan. Conflict.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workla.
received a phone call from Becky Garvey regarding the golf course under new business number 1 and 2. No conflict of interest. Nicholas Yachin regarding number 12 on consent agenda, number 2 under new business. No conflict. And then John Cristobal regarding number 11 on consent agenda and the newly added item on the agenda regarding the appointment of P&Z. In addition, I did talk to Paris Dickerson from Idaho Power as well for clarification on something on the bill run.
Okay, let's run down the consent agenda. Council, is there anything on the consent agenda that you would like pulled?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull items 2, 5, 11, and 16.
Mayor.
Anything else? Hang on a second. Councilman, let me make sure I got that right. 16, 11, 5, and 2.
Correct.
Okay, Councilwoman Workla.
In addition to those, I had those start as well. That's funny. I want to pull 6 in addition. Was 12 mentioned yet? And 12.
Okay.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
I'd like to pull number 7, please.
All right, Council.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda as printed, pulling items 2, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, and 16.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
All right. Run down to old business action item deliberation decision regarding the letter of engagement with certain CPAs for FY26 audit services and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the required documents. Council.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
I asked for this last time for clarification on that, and Paula, you were able to get us that email, so thank you for that. With that being said, if there's no discussion, I will make the motion to approve the letter of engagement with Soros and CPAs for FY26 auditing service and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the required documents.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
We're going to run down to old business number 2, action item number 2, deliberation decision regarding task order attachment with Keller Associates, Inc., and authorize mayor to sign. I don't remember which one that one was again, so council, what do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I think this one got tabled until our public works director and engineers could answer some questions. They weren't my questions. That's how I recall this one getting tabled.
Councilman McCarthy.
So I had some questions on this for last, and yes, thanks for Councilman Harjo for putting in that we were waiting for some clarification from Public Works Director on that. So I guess I kind of want to start off with the task order. It looks like we are doing for general water, wastewater, and development service with an increase of $150,000. Quite a bit of money. I guess I'm kind of curious to see if we can get some more information of this consultant services, what these we see all the time on bill runs every month, and what we're essentially paying for on this service and that. I have some other questions on that, but I guess I'll just start with that.
Go ahead, Chris.
Keller did join us.
Oh, cool. Hey, James. Jordan.
Bringing them up, but I will start by saying that the general task order, Keller Associates has been engaged by the city. The reason we do these task orders is growth. Oh, sorry. The reason we do these task orders is primarily based on growth ongoing throughout the city. You guys are here,
Yeah,
so
I could add to that.
Okay.
Really, this is an on-call, so whatever you need, we're here for you. So it's not. There's some things that happen like regularly, like every year you have an annual land application permit. That's a certain amount of effort. Most of the other things are just as they come up. And so there's a new development that comes in, and hopefully you can recoup some of these costs with your fees and some of those things. But the idea is just to have something in place that we have something you want us to do, we're here for you. And so typically, historically, it's been kind of in that $2,000 to $3,000 a month on average, is based on just how on-call services. Sometimes there might be almost nothing or none at all. Other times, typically January, February is usually bigger because we're doing the land application permits and annual reports are being done. But it's just really, it's an on-call, and for whatever things you might come. Hopefully we're the idea behind these is we're protecting interests. The first time you have, for example, the wrong pipe size is put in on a project, and you have to worry about digging the road up because it's all you paid for years worth of service. This is really protect the city's interest, answer whatever questions you have, help in whatever way we can.
I will add to that. I know that previously you've requested some of the Keller invoices. If you go through those invoices, they break down what they do on every project. So, like I said, we're seeing a lot of these new subdivisions come along with different developers. When they do those reviews, they break them down by subdivision, and then those costs we can and do recoup in the reviews that are published through the building office. So we do recoup some of that cost. We unfortunately don't recoup it all. I am, however, working with Keller. They've been assisting me, and the reason that we have broken those down now is so that we can track better what expenses we do have, and we can go back to this body and request increases in the amount of development fee reviews that we're charging for these developers, because we want to make sure we're doing the right things, and the citizens shouldn't be paying for it. But those are the things that Keller helps us do that really the city can't move forward without.
Just also add that it's been about 2 years since the last time we augmented this budget, and I think the city staff might take some of these responsibilities in, like the annual report may be done in-house now, so we kind of see this as probably going to last another 2 years.
At some point, you may look at getting your own house. This budget will trim down a lot when that happens. There's still a lot of things that are, no engineer and everything. Teams of people, but as you get bigger, that will be something you'll look at, maybe having your own in-house staff, and they will take on more of those duties that you currently.
Councilman Crosby?
I appreciate that, James and Chris. I guess that's kind of my question on that, because last city council meeting, we had the pleasure of Idaho Power coming to us and presenting on that. And they had pointed out something that I think that has been sticking in my mind about our growth rate. And they had talked about the average that we're going through. And they had, I believe it was 1.23. So while I understand that we need experts in the field and that, I guess I'm just kind of questioning on what these kind of conversations and these projects are when we're not seeing what the growth that we were anticipating all these years based on data and everything that's coming in. So I think this is over kind of an arching thing for me as well with other tasks. But Chris, I guess not to put you on the spot, when we're talking about developments and that, it seems every month we have some charge for development reviews. But when I'm kind of looking at developments, I'm not seeing too many, coming on with planning and zoning and that these last couple months. So is this something that's behind the scene? Can you expand a little bit more?
Mayor. So the reviews that are taking place are, a lot of them, approved developments. So Blue Yonder is the perfect example. It's the biggest one you're going to see, all the Corey Barton projects. As we go through the stages of those, every stage of that has to have a development plan that's submitted and approved. We've done Blue Yonder 1, Blue Yonder 2. We're on Blue Yonder West now. So those are already approved projects that are here, but they continue to grow. Thunderbolt Landing is another one. Fall Creek is another one. Those are all phased projects. And as we go through the phases of development, we have to review every phase. And so that's what a lot of the charges that you see are. We're working on some other things with Keller that are not development specifically based. We have a landfill we're still trying to close. Keller is the engineer that we use for that general task order as well. So there's a lot more than just the brand new shiny penny developments coming in. There's always something to be done until these projects are completed. Blue Yonder's got a long way to go. Fall Creek's got a long way to go. Silverstone North, they're finally getting that one. You'll start to see drop off, but we have other ones that are coming on, like Axtell subdivision. There's always another one in the pipeline. Does that help? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
James Jordan, thank you guys for coming out here. Yeah, just to reiterate what Chris has mentioned, in Blue Yonder, I pull up the findings of fact from that, and the development assessments of what infrastructure needs to happen in accordance with each phase of these new growth subdivisions. For instance, here, if Blue Yonder number 4 does not proceed with construction, Aislinn Ranch will be required to install the 16-inch water main along the frontage per the water master plan. There's a lot of detail to be found in the findings of fact in these preliminary and final plats. That data is there because of Keller and Associates looking out for the entire system and the best interest of what the city's infrastructure looks like both now and into the future, giving those real world outlooks on if this then that, if not this then you have this choice. Those don't just show up. They take engineering professionals to get done, and I appreciate you guys doing that. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right, council, what do you want to do?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
make a motion to approve the task order amendment with Keller and Associates and authorize the mayor to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Workla.
Nay.
Councilman Sanders.
Nay.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy. Okay. All right, run down to new business. Items pulled. Oh, is that where I'm putting it, T?
Sorry, yeah, I caught up finally, thanks to Councilwoman Workala.
You're all good.
Yeah.
So we'll run down to new business, and we're gonna go down to items pulled. I know it's not a numbered, but we'll go to number 2. So Councilman Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, I want to draw your attention to line 014159615. And the material that's been purchased under that line is all golf merchandise. To my knowledge, there is not an expenditure line created in the current budget for this expenditure. There is not a funding stream that was dedicated for this to go against. The funding stream indicated came onto the budget in the past year, showing there was anticipation of receiving those funds. Yet those funds were not dedicated by the council to go toward any expenditures. As a result, I would like to see this amount, the $4,900.06, be split into existing lines. In particular, I would like to see the 0141561-10, the golf discretionary rounds, and the $502.50 that are there, zero that out to go toward this total payment. Line 0141585-00, miscellaneous expenditure line, in the amount of $1,394.39, the remaining balance zeroed out and go toward that cost. And then to make up the $3,003.17 difference, the 014155610, the educational incentive program, which currently has no expenditures against it, and with us being over halfway through the fiscal year, $6,000 balance there be remaining. My recommendation is that this bill be paid out of each of those 3 lines. And then to avoid any further misunderstandings about how that fund should be appropriated, I am recommending that the revenue line 0141596-15, the Idaho, the ID-co-op, be transferred to 014158200, contingency.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
Councilman Sanders, I hate to ask because I know this is a bit, can you, a few of those budget lines, can I, just to make sure?
Of course.
I apologize.
Starting with 014156110. That is the golf round donations. The 014158500 is listed as miscellaneous. And then the 014155610 is the employee education incentive program.
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
You know it's coming.
I'm dying to what?
So, Councilman Sanders, no, there's no way I'm gonna have the taxpayer pay for any of that $4,906. Here's a backstory on it. And I believe you found out the same way because the person that you disclosed, I disclosed too. All right, so here's the backstory. At our last budget session, we received this paper. It says grants for 2025-26. On there, it says administration, Idaho Power Co-op in the amount of $1.2 million. It's that line item that you just disclosed, the 01-415-96-15. So again, what we've all learned is that why our budget looks so high every year is because we have to disclose grants even if we don't get them, right? We have to disclose grants, we have to disclose co-ops, URA amounts, whatever. We have to disclose that even if we do not get it. The problem with that is council, current council, to my knowledge, was unaware of the 1.2 million being awarded. I won't even say awarded. So when I spoke to Paris as well at Idaho Power, I said, what's the backstory here? She said that when she came to us about a year ago, Bennett Mountain plant was subject to be built. She had Idaho Power said that they will give the city of Mountain Home, per their allowance, a tax break on property taxes for a certain percentage amount. After they came and said that on record, legislation changed and said that Idaho Power did not have that authority anymore. So kudos to Idaho Power for actually doing the math, doing the numbers, and figuring out that $1.2 million is what would came back to the people of Mountain Home, the taxpayers of Mountain Home, through property tax relief. I said, were you obligated to give that? She said, we weren't obligated to give any. I said, okay, what are the stipulations? No one just gives $1.2 million without strings attached. She said, we wanted to uphold to our word and follow through. So there was no strings attached per your email, Mayor, right? Because I asked you as well. And it was a check. It was a check that came in and it was deposited. And the mayor decided, without running it by council, which I guess could be his purview, I don't know, decided to put it in the general admin budget, which is your budget that you have control of. Yes, there is a purchasing policy that says that you can only spend up to $5,000 without running it by council. Therefore, when you decided to supply the pro shop, while we're still determining which way we want to go with the golf course and the pro shop, you decided to spend $4,900.06 to supply and stack the pro shop full of clubs, gloves, balls, and displays. We as council did not know that until we got our packet on Friday night and it's on the bill run. Okay. I went to our treasurer. She said, and asked the question about this. She says, run that by the mayor. The mayor gave me his reasoning. I still wasn't happy with that. So I found out by having to call Idaho Power how that was done. There's no way the city of Mountain Home, the taxpayers of Mountain Home, will pay a penny of that. I will not reallocate any of that. Now, the second part of your request was to put that 1.2 million into contingency, right? Not a bad idea, okay? Because we need Skeleton Sewer Lagoon badly, and that could help fund that. So, in my point of view, Mayor, by you funding the pro shop, you have put your needs before the city of Mountain Home, before the people of Mountain Home, meaning that we need our infrastructure fixed first for our sewer, our wastewater, and that money should not be going to something for what you deemed as your own personal agenda, since council has not decided on which direction we wanted to go yet, because that is later on in the agenda underneath new business. This is going to sound real, I'm going to get a lot of hate emails, but you will pay the $4,906. The taxpayer will not. Now, I don't know if the rest of the council will approve that, but that's where I stand.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
Councilman Workla, thank you for that. I will offer a couple of alternatives. First of all, I do not subscribe to the notion that we have to disclose grants whether or not we receive them, especially when Idaho Code in Chapter 50, Section 1003 allows the reopening of a budget for unanticipated revenues and specifically uses grants as an example of such. It is completely proper to have a budget written where you can have the notion of having grants come in, and then if you actually get them, reopen the budget in order to receive those revenues. That is allowed under law. And as a result, it makes for a little tighter accounting so you don't have ghost numbers running through your budget system. But that being said, the bill's been paid. Question is now, how do we properly allocate it?
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
the bill has not been paid because we pulled it off the consent agenda. It's not paid until we approve it. Do not have him put us in this corner. We don't have to accept any payment.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Since you seem to be the nexus for information on this issue, I will ask you point blank. How were these products procured?
They were procured, I'm going to assume by the, Chris got them for me, right? Yep.
And you authorized him to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Was that done on a city account?
I don't know. You have account? Was that a city account?
Yes.
Yes.
3,800 of that.
Come down, Chris. Sorry.
Mayor,
Hang on a second, hang on a second.
I just want to know, where's Jeff? Where's Jeff? Jake is the boss of Jeff. Jeff is the boss of Chris. Where's that chain?
Chain?
Mr.
Go
Mayor.
ahead, go ahead, Councilman.
Councilman Workla.
Not sure exactly which hole he would be on, but he plays in the Fat Belly Round Belly League, which is playing this evening. So he's probably on the course as we speak, or just getting ready to, just getting underway.
They teed off at 4.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman.
It is my opinion, and I'm of the opinion this purchase was inappropriate, that the purchase was without authority, does not fall within the policies of the council, and those policies are referenced and interlaced with the budgets that support those policies, even though the budget was passed by the prior council. The council passed those budgets based on the policies they had given you over the course of the year, whether that's in written form or whether it was through a series of decisions that came as the regular course of business, in which oftentimes monies were transferred between lines. In that regard, I see this purchase as being outside those guidelines and hence outside the purchasing policy of the council. And to the extent we may not be able to return those materials, can we? If they can be returned, I would prefer they be returned immediately and this be taken off of our books until the proper course of actions be taken.
Hold that thought.
It's actually 2829 in the gloves, 978. All balls of boxing kids.
All right. Okay.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
jump into this deep water, I'd say. I 100% agree. I think this is an inappropriate purchase, especially when we haven't, as a body, council has decided which way we are going with the golf course. I guess it starts making me kind of question a little bit more of, this came from the 01-14-96-15 Idaho Co-op budget line. Well, if we can purchase sporting goods out of that and it doesn't violate, the $5,000 purchasing, what's to say that it can't be done with other budget lines? So I feel that this is kind of starting to set a precedent that if we allow this tonight, that what's stopping it from having another $5,000 next city council meeting? And I 100% agree with Councilwoman Workala that I do not agree that $1 of taxpayer money should be spent on materials for the pro shop. We are not in the business to be competing against private industry. If it is something that was so much needed, then I don't understand why we're not talking about contracting out the golf pro shop. So I don't see this as an appropriate expenditure, and flat out it needs to be corrected. So
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'm getting messages from Cyber World asking if you guys speak into the speaker. That can't be heard. That's all.
Okay, one, I checked with legal, made sure it was something I could do before I ever do anything, first and foremost. Chris has, I think, some kids things coming up for the kids at Parks and Rec. You're going to do.
I met with them today, gave them the program for June and July. It's like a program.
Okay. So this is a golf course, and I guess for me, it's hard because we have, how many people we've turned away in the pro shop for not having clubs for them to utilize, right?
Create slow play.
Correct. But before I do anything, I always ask legal. And he said, yep, purchasing policy. I guess my thing is at the end of the day, I do everything by the book. And if that's how you guys feel, that this is inappropriate to have the golf course utilize golf clubs, and that's another thing. I agree. I won't use taxpayer dollars. This was something that was donated to the city of Mountain Home. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just not use tax dollars and get this program for the kids and that kind of stuff set up. Easy peasy. While we're waiting for the decision of the council direction, right? So that was my thing. Go ahead, Chris.
You have a driving range, and you don't have clubs for even people to use on the driving range. They want to come out and hit balls and have no clubs. That's what we're up for.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
when I was running my campaign, I at one time was accused of being a one-subject campaigner. Everybody was afraid I was going to do nothing but defend the golf course. I am a golfer. That golf course is one of my passions. I am absolutely torn between my passion for the game and my obligation as a city councilman, because my obligation extends beyond the golf course. And the precedent that is trying to be established here, with all due respect to legal counsel, I disagree. It's almost like you've come to the council with your request for having it run by the city, like someone would come to a judge asking for a injunction. And then before the decision comes back from the judge, you've gone out and taken relief anyway. That is not in the purchasing policy. If I don't protect the process for the proper use of these funds and the proper role of the council, then I do a disservice to every citizen that voted for me. In that regard, no matter how well intended, if it wasn't done correctly, it's not right. And just because it's not illegal doesn't make it right. This purchase, in my opinion, falls outside of your scope of duties.
Okay. So council, what do you want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm going to ask that you direct your golf staff to see if the items can be returned. And then provide that information to the council so we may address what appropriate action to take afterward. And I still would like, and as part of that motion, I still would like to continue with having the funding stream represented by the 451-5610 shifted to contingency.
Does that mean we have to open the budget, Paula, to shift it, or can we just dump
Nope.
it all in there?
Mayor.
Yep.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
I don't want to beat a dead horse on this. I think it's been said that, yeah. So I will make a motion to approve the bill runs from 4/29/2026 to 5/12/2026, pulling the Sporting's Good expenses. Oh, pulling the $4,906.
Mayor.
Councilman Workla.
Will the maker of the motion amend his motion to, for clarification, that there is under 24-439-56-00 underneath meeting schools and dues for the golf course, there's dry flowable fungicide, which I called Jake and he admitted that that was a clerical error and that he reached out to our treasurer for clarification. But what we see here is what we're going to vote on. Has that been fixed? Oh, okay. Disregard.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo?
Councilwoman McCarthy, the stated amount that you mentioned was $4,906. It's $4,900.06, if you'd like to amend that.
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy?
I'll amend my motion to be $4,900. Oh, I was trying to pull it up, sorry. The $4,906.06. Yep.
Oh, it's $4,900.06.
6 cents, excuse me. Yep.
Okay, there's a motion, and is there a second? Pay the bills and take that out.
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Run down to item number 5, Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I move this item, number 5, to approve and set a public hearing for June 9th, 2026 regarding miscellaneous golf fee be indefinitely tabled as it is not ripe for this committee's consideration.
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
All right, run down to number 6, approved task order 3035, agreement for well 18th with Keller and Associates. Councilwoman Workla?
So this is another task order for Keller that is asking to be approved. So I think it was like about a year ago. Can we have you come up for a quick seat?
Thanks, Chris.
Hi. So there's always our lagoon, our wastewater infrastructure needs to be addressed, and that we were okay with our water. We're sitting okay with our water about a year ago. But tell me if I'm speaking incorrectly here. So that wasn't really on my radar. But then we get this task order on our agenda here saying that the water system is about approximately 85% of its firm water supply capacity.
Yes, you might recall we did the declining balance update
Yeah.
a couple months ago.
Mhm.
That's where that came about. So regulatorily, you're not required to have another well until you reach your firm capacity. As a guideline, it's when you get to like that 85%, time to start thinking about planning on the next step. And so that's what this is about. So you've got time before the well is needed, but it also takes, like you saw the last well, it takes a long time to get a well permitted, constructed, all the processes, all that stuff takes years. The last well took a few years. So this is the first step of that whole process, and that's getting the well hole, doing the test well, doing the production well, and getting going on that. So it's can you wait? Sure, you can wait, but this is a matter of just staying ahead of the curve. The lagoon still is important. You know, I think when we talked about the wastewater, the lagoon was the biggest item. And when you look at the water system, the well is the biggest item. So those are the two priorities, and they're different buckets. You have to manage those separately.
Agreed. So when I pull up the task order, again, the fee is $137,000. So $137,885. So part of me feels like we should figure out before we go out for another task order to pay that for this assessment is to get on our wastewater and just close that up before we're purging out more money towards.
You can certainly prioritize your dollars however you want.
Right.
I would say that there are different buckets that you can't commingle. You've got your water that's an enterprise fund and your wastewater that's an enterprise fund. So you can't take your extra cash in your water and put it on your sewer project. So, I mean, but yeah, you can certainly prioritize things however you want. I would say that this would be something we'd recommend you start. And again, it doesn't have to happen today, but I would certainly say within the next 6 months or a year based on and that depends a little bit on how growth occurs. But if you look at the biggest risk for your city's water system, it's the unknowns with wells. Sometimes you'll have a well go out, or sometimes two wells go out, and it's just, or you drill a well and like, oh goodness, there's all kinds of problems. The water quality is not right or something. Just so knowing what you have and getting a well that you can count on and rely on goes a long ways. Like you can always wait on the facility side. Like I'm going to wait and build, spend the I think the last one was like 1.7 million, do the facilities and a generator and all that kind of stuff till you need it. But having some certainty on the well hole gives you mitigates a lot of risk.
Thank you. And you're only doing what we ask, of course, because you found this with the declining balance. Understand. I just want to see what other council feels about this.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Again, thank you guys. It's a highlight that more than one thing can be true concurrently, right? We have independent buckets of funding that are strictly allocated within their statutory purpose. Both of these issues are afflicting this city at the same time. And we've paid for studies getting up to this point. The declining balance tool was one we've been working on for over a year. The results of those reports independently are showing us that we have decisions to make in both of those fronts. The the question that I have for you guys, James and Jordan, our portfolio of water rights currently, do we hold enough water right to accommodate well 18?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
That being said, is there a time clock to put those water rights into use? In the sense that just leaning on the agricultural side where they have a shot clock on how frequently they need to put that into service? Are we beholden to any? Okay.
All right, Council.
Mayor.
Councilman McCarthy.
Chris, I know you answered this last time, but I just want to see our last well number 17, that came on last year.
December. Yep.
December it came on.
Yep.
And so I guess my question, please help with this, is when we had well 17 come online, how many EDUs did that give us for water?
About
1,000. So I guess that's where my question is. And again, I've been trying to stress this so much of this is why it's so important to understand our true growth rate. If we had 1,000 EDUs come on in December, and yet we're getting a report, I think it was April that you had come and presented, and we're down to 43 EDUs for 85% capacity. I'm trying to figure out how we went from.
So, see, I mean, that's when you started that project, you might have been a little bit more behind the 8 ball. When you finished it, you're in a much better spot, but still there's still growth. There's still, I mean, went from here to here, but you needed to be there already. So I mean, you weren't violating standards, but you kind of went like just got barely above the bar. So each step you're just getting a little bit. I mean, we would have liked to have gotten more capacity out of that well. I think that was our original hope, and that would have given you more time. But you got what you get out of a well hole. So that's part of the reason. Yeah.
And the estimated on, sorry, Mayor.
Councilman, you're good.
The estimate, what was the estimated on well number 17 that it would produce? Because I know in the slide you had presented, it came out to about 1,100 gallons.
1,100 is the capacity. So when we tested it, that's what we determined we could do. So we actually tested it at a higher rate, but it had issues with sand when you started to pump too high. So that's why it's targets what it is. And that's part of why you do a test well and why you test things out so that you don't go put a ginormous pump and then burn it up in the first 2 weeks.
So when we started wells number 17, when did the initial planning begin? Just for background information.
Probably 7 years ago.
7 years ago, we started a task order with Keller for.
I don't know about thinking water master plan.
Well, 17 was prior to 21.
Yeah.
It was like at least in 2020.
Sometimes it takes a while. So in that case, there were other factors. You were securing funding, for example, that was funded by the military grant. So sometimes there's pauses. Let's get the funding in order before you move forward. Typically, the longest things are like water rights. Well, in this case, the last case, there were some water quality issues that had to be addressed, required additional testing to confirm that it was okay. And so all those things end up taking time. And that's part of why we're saying you just never know what you're going to get. It might go quickly, but it can take a while. So it's better to go sooner and then know what you have so that you have it in the bank when you need it.
And then in that time we had well 16 was updated, wasn't it, Chris? Or wasn't there a piece of, there was a well that we had that we did some.
15.
Sorry, 15.
We did some major repairs on well 15 because we had a failure.
Our capacity or just keep the same?
Already online well, we just had repairs. It didn't change capacity. We have another well that's out of service right now and it doesn't change our capacity. We'll fix it. Yeah.
Just wanted to ask on that just to make sure. I appreciate the info, you know, and
We-
I think it's one of those,
That's
it's,
what, we just want you to make informed decisions.
and I appreciate that. And I think for me, it's one of those of, yes, it's always good to plan, but where are we at when it becomes too pre-planning, you know, and we're just basically paying for task order after task order after task order where it's just sitting on the shelf until hopefully the growth rate or we get to where we actually need it. So that's kind of my concern of,
Sure.
you know, if we have another task order where, you know, I'm pretty sure, and I don't want to speak for this body, but sewer is kind of one of those that we really want to solve and get done on, you know, especially since I know with the task order with Keller, we had paid, I think it was about $80,000 for Cell Lagoon number 10.
Yeah, a
So,
lot there, and that was, and there's other reasons for that too, right? You were trying to get grants, they had to be shovel ready, so you're trying to, you know, sometimes there's motivations and why you do things in certain orders. And if it'd be helpful, we could provide Chris some growth scenarios, like what happens if you grow at 1% or 2% or this, and you can see how that trigger would occur. Like when would you hit the 85%? When would you hit 90% or 95 or 100? So I mean, happy to provide that to you, so you can make that informed decision, and just based on that, you can decide when you want to pull that trigger.
yeah, and that's great to know. Sorry, Mayor, again. It's great. Appreciate that. I think you had a Keller report back in 2015 that I'm very interested because it follows pretty closely that growth rate that we're following. And so that's, again, when I'm coming back to all this information, it seems of, again, do we have too many irons in the fire where, you know, is this truly needed right now, or can we wait for next budget or next year and move forward, depending on the growth? So, but I do appreciate you all coming and answering these questions. And
Yeah, of course.
So council, what do you guys want to do for consent agenda number 6?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Sorry, Tiff, I got on the screen sharing part and it shows that I'm sharing screen, but it's not.
Kick you off and kick me.
I think it's the, oh, you know, here we go. Keeps booting me off every time I click on it. Hey, there we go. James and Jordan, I pulled up the 2025 declining balance report that you guys had produced. This is on page 12 of that report. Just from the water perspective and the water planning criteria specifically. On this, we talk about the water rights and where we stand with water rights, but separately from the rights, the supply itself. And you have a note in here, the supply is essentially at 85% of the remaining capacity.
That's where we say, start thinking about it. That's kind of an industry standard, 85%. That's when you start planning. And you want it online by the time you get to the 1480. So when you talk about your schedule, if you're adding 100 EDUs a year, that's a long time. But if you're adding 300, then that's 4 years, and maybe now is a good time to be starting that because it might take 3 years. So again, we can do some of that forecasting, but that's what those numbers mean.
So I think that was going to be my next question, is in the process of forecasting, not just in the residential one-to-one EDU realm, of what potential we're trying to attract here to town, the need for capacity in both systems, wastewater and water, but in this point where our supply is stated in these reports at 85%, and to get the ball rolling now, if we had well 18 come on in similar performance to well 17, the EDU bump, if nothing changed between now and the time that we created that would roughly 1,000 EDUs in and of itself, if it performs in the same.
Yeah.
And the area that we're scoping is within the Public Works yard, correct?
Is nearby, yes.
Nearby.
Quarter to quarter.
And just preliminarily, we are pretty confident and happy with that portion of the aquifer.
Yes.
Understood. In the instance that a pilot well does not prove out to be very, very productive,
Pull the plug.
we
You look somewhere else.
we plug that one and find a new spot, right? Do we have any plan B and C locations?
It's all on the water. There are some in the area of the Public Works Yard. There's some that are south and west of town. That's actually where we'll go next for our next wells, but yeah, we have alternate locations. They're all.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, council. What do you guys want to do?
Thanks, Sid. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the task order 035 agreement for well 18 with Keller and Associates and authorize the mayor to sign.
Do I have a second? All right, motion dies for lack of second.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
Fellow council members, we talk a lot about being mindful of both the public dollar as well as public infrastructure. And we do a lot of round and round discussion about public infrastructure, but in the moments like these where we have the opportunity to take a step forward in the right direction, I guess I'm seeking some clarification from my fellow council members. What about this task order in this moment where we clearly have educated people who are subject matter experts in their field describing to us both a lengthy process and that we're at 15% remaining capacity for an important public infrastructure piece such as freshwater. I'd love to hear what our reasoning for not moving forward on this is.
Mayor,
Councilman Wakla.
legal,
Yes, sir.
are we bind to always use, and please don't take offense to this, are we legally bind to always use the same engineer for every single project that comes our way for water, wastewater?
No, of course not.
Okay. So you're expensive. And I understand that. My husband's a land surveyor, works for a civil engineering company. I understand it's pricey. So I understand that. But we're going to get into this discussion a little bit later. And again, no offense to the company. I understand you guys probably put out a really good product. That's why you are expensive. We're going to get in the discussion a little bit about going out for bids, right? Trying to find the best dollar, right, for the project. Of a struggling community. So again, my only job is to be very mindful of the taxpayers' dollar. So, so for the other council members, any idea of maybe looking at other engineers for estimated costs? And again, maybe you are the number one choice, but it seems like for you, we use you for every single thing, and it's quite expensive. Competition's healthy.
Councilman McCarthy.
I guess I have a question. We're sitting here and, it's saying we're at 43 units, 85% capacity, and, the alarms are start ringing that we should be looking into this. I guess my question, and I'm posing this to Public Works or to James, it sounds as if last year this wasn't a big concern, so I guess I'm trying to figure out how this snuck up on us per se, if this is a big issue.
Couple things. I don't know that it's not a surprise, and again, 85% isn't necessarily an alarm. That's like the trigger to start moving forward. The alarm would be if you're getting close to 100%. And I think the other item is, I think the fact that well 17 was a little lower than we had hoped, would have, if that had been 2,000 gallons a minute, for example, that would have been another 800, 900 EDUs down the road, so it's clearly it's by what you can get from your water sources.
And thanks. I have to say, I think, again, you're a great company. I know you've done a lot of work for many, many years in Mountain Home. I have to say, I don't see any issue with competition and bids. So that's kind of my thoughts on.
No, and I appreciate that. We do a lot of work in a lot of communities. I would maybe just clarify a few things. That I don't feel like we're expensive, but I feel like we provide great value, and that's what's the most important thing. Can you find somebody that does something less? Maybe you can, but will you get the same value at the end? Maybe you won't. But I would also just so you understand too, just from the engineering community, how the process works. When you solicit an engineering services, you solicit a quality-based selection, and then you negotiate fees. So you can actually solicit price proposals in the state of Idaho. But you certainly, as an option, you can solicit qualifications, and you can weigh those. You can select who you think is the most qualified for that project, and then you can enter in negotiations with that particular firm to try to get the best value for the city. And I say, we're open to negotiations too, where even the things we present, if we feel like we have breakdowns on how we get to where we're at. There's certainly things you can do to reduce costs that we can discuss. And but at the end of the day, we're trying to provide the best value.
Councilman McCarthy.
And I don't argue against that, James. For me, again, I don't think competition's healthy, but again, it's also coming back to, I'd like to see some of these tasks completed. We've spent a lot of money with Cell Lagoon number 10, and these are kind of the things that I'm just speaking for myself that I would like to see completed before we keep adding more and more and more. And now it's one of these of, we have 20 irons in the fire, and how are we keeping up with status on these and completion and everything? So
I can appreciate that for sure.
Okay, council. What do you want to do on number 6? Is this tabled? Is this? What do you guys want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I'm confused. Did that not just die for lack of a second?
Correct.
Are you asking for reconsideration?
Nope. I'm just saying we're just being dropped. I'm just making sure it's clarified. So we're going to move down to item number 7.
We'll stay right here.
Stay right here.
Sorry.
Same as number 6, council.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I mean, if we're in the sport of ignoring our studies that we go out for, I mean, is there much discussion to be had here?
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve it? Hearing none?
Mayor, I'll make a motion, understanding that it will fail, to approve the task order 036 agreement with Western Trunkline Study with Keller and Associates. Authorize the mayor to sign.
I'm only seconding because I don't want it to die. I want to hear from Keller about it. Please explain.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded.
Further
Go ahead.
discussion. Further
Sorry.
discussion.
Further discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can take the lead on that. So your wastewater master plan that was completed in 2023 identified a new trunk line that needs to be built on the west side of the city to accommodate future growth. Since then, we've received information that there are additional developments that are in the pipeline now, maybe coming, that are in different locations and new in addition to what we knew at the master plan timeframe. And so like those could change the alignment of that pipe. could also change what diameter of trunk line. And so we kind of, the city, for your staff's asked us to relook at that with the additional growth to see, like, is this still the alignment we want? Is this still the size of the pipe we need? That's the kind of the reason for.
So it's a projection, right?
It's like
it's not a current issue. It's a projection, right?
Is for to accommodate new growth, and just to kind of illustrate why this is important, why you do your planning. I mean, right now, you know, you recently had a proposal or a set of plans that came in that had a lift station, and we don't really like lift stations in Mountain Home, which I mean, which is it's amazing how few there are for a city this size, and part of that is because you plan. And so in working with that developer, you know, we, once upon a time, there was surveying done, there was planning to figure out, like, how can we get a trunk line out there? How deep does it need to be so that when they put that lift station in, someday we can get rid of it? And so that's the idea of behind these plans. So you're having a lot of development that's occurring in the southwest, or a lot of development interest in the southwest part of the city. And you want to make sure that it's consistent with what's in the best long-term interest. So you're not stuck with extra lift stations. You're not stuck running a parallel pipe because you put the pipe that was too small. You put it in the right corridor to be able to maybe take advantage of the growth so that they can put as much of that in as possible on their penny instead of yours. That's why you do these types of efforts. And that's why, frankly, it's why you kind of have your system development charges that you have, or your service availability fees. Those things help you stay ahead of the curve. You reinvest that in your planning and anticipation and preliminary efforts, you'll kind of avoid trouble. So
What's the urgency on this? Like if you
a
were
lot
to,
of developments that have expressed interest that are outside of the original planning areas. So it's a matter of getting the corridor defined and the size defined so that if these move forward, you'll be able to tell them what to put and where.
have they been approved yet?
None of these have been approved. We're just trying to get ahead of the game. So we know that there's a company called Homes that's interested in building 1,000 units. There's another company that came in, was interested in putting 1,100 units. It's all off the Bruno Highway and it's all south of town. It's an area we never considered for growth before because nobody was interested. Now, that's where we're seeing the interest. So that's why I asked for
Well, I
this.
appreciate you being proactive on that, right? I mean, and it's always good to, you know, keep ahead of the game a little bit here. Yeah, I was gonna say, my question, I guess, is like, yeah, if it was something already in development and we already realize it. But if this came back down the road, and because if those got approved down the road, that's something that I may say yes.
Councilman,
Chris, thank you for that clarification about the, you know, interests in that. I know it's about planning, and for me, it's coming back to, you know, what's the interest versus we're actually going to start seeing, you know, shovels in the dirt. You know, well, even before, after shovels in dirt. I'm sure we can think of a project here that up by the pilot that had some dirt moving and everything, and it still didn't happen. So, James, if I can just ask one question on this. I see that the trunk line study that's going through, most of it's following, you know, the state highway, Air Base Road and everything, cuts through what appears to be private area. What's the whole reasoning, I guess, behind that?
Fee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the low spot.
Okay.
So you, to avoid those lift stations, you know, and that's the same thing when we ran the last major trunk line in 2006. You know, we looked at where can we route that to be able to serve places, and it required easements, it required all those types of things. But because the city, you know, took that foresight and moved forward, you know, you were able to basically double your community. And that's the idea behind planning and staying ahead of the curve. So yeah, you stay ahead of the curve, and then you're not paying twice on it down the road.
And again, I appreciate that sentiment. I guess I questioned that on this is planning and we do all this study and everything. This is basically banking on the fact that if this landowner allows us to use trunk line, and I understand the whole reasoning for it, low topography and everything, but I'm just kind of curious, is this something that's hinging on the landowner's approval?
That route, I mean, you have options. City always has options. Ideally, you work with them and do the sequence in the right sequence. I mean, eminent domain is something most people don't like to talk about, but it is an option that could be pursued. Usually you just want to know those things so that when that development comes in, you know where that route should go. And you can, that's usually the 99% of the time, that's what you're working with, is working with that developer to refine the alignments and all those things at the time of development. But it always starts with the big picture. And if you don't do the big picture planning, then you just roll the dice with the risk.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
You know this is backwards. Nay.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
There you go.
Thank you. Appreciate
One out of two.
I wanted you to be able to explain yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, we're gonna run down. Number 11, Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
Members of the council, I'd like to put a couple of questions to Mr. Curtis. Where does the proposed work fall on streets CIP?
It's a road that's been identified on the CIP for years. Yeah, but it's not priority number one. It's just the cleanest, easiest project to do with the money that we have.
And this is going to sound like a trick question, but it's really not. What are you trying to purchase?
I am purchasing nothing. It's a contract to have Benedetti's Corporation come out and resurface.
Okay.
We're not purchasing anything.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Sanders.
As I go through this proposal, I see a letter from the company proposing to do the work. It talks about how it performs the work and then makes the claim that that qualifies it for sole source justification.
Okay.
We are not attempting to contract for the method. We're attempting to contract for the resurfacing of the road. And just to keep things above board, the current purchasing policy, although it's dated from 2017, does not contain anywhere within the document the term sole source. That being said, and the limit for not going out for a competitive bid being what it is, I cannot move forward with this.
Excuse me.
Are you done, Councilman Sanders? Sorry. Councilwoman Workla?
Yeah, so I looked over the proposal as well. Yeah, I have the problem with the exclusions. So sounds like they won't do full depth repairs or base reconstruction, so hot spots, repair of subgrade failures or unstable areas again, utility adjustments, pavement striping and markings, or do traffic control for the area. So who would have to pay for all of that? It would again come through the city of Mountain Home. To me, again, beating a dead horse here, that's no difference than Railroad Park. A developer got a bid, came in, do the project. City's like, well, to keep it cheaper, let's put $500,000 or so into it of in-kind work. This is in my opinion, the exact same thing. They're not coming in and doing everything from start to finish. So this doesn't sit well with me. It needs to go out for bid, 100%. It needs to go out for bid so we can support local as well. But I did some research. There is a local company in the area that will do the mill, the repair, and pave it for $499,000. Okay, that's an estimate. So that's lower than what's being offered here. So when this says proprietary project or proprietary item, maybe the equipment is, but not completely, right? So we have other companies that's still able to come in and complete the project and do the work. It needs to go out for bid. My second question, or another question I may have is, does this out-of-state company have an Idaho Public Works permit?
I have no idea.
Okay, Mayor, Councilman McCarthy.
Chris, thanks for the letter on this asphalt recycler. You know, I understand we're trying to stretch our dollar, but I always kind of wonder when is cheaper not always the cheapest. And so when I see that they're not doing full depth repairs and base construction, repair subrate, these are the same concerns that I had when they presented to us. You know, there's parts of that road that potholes and alligator cracks and that. So to me, I'm kind of starting to really question about, you know, is this something that's a Band-Aid and it's treating the system or the symptoms by not doing a full repair because of the years of in-between maintenance, I'll say. You know, roads don't fail from the top down. They fail from the base up. And that's how you get your alligator cracks and your potholes and everything. So I am concerned that if we spend this kind of money that, again, we're basically putting a Band-Aid on a road that we're not going to get, you know, maybe a few 5 years or something out of it, where a full reconstruction, we could be getting 20, 25 years out of it with proper maintenance. So, yeah, I would like to see bids go out too as well. So,
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
what's our definition of proper maintenance?
Mayor,
McCarthy, yep.
Crack sealing, fog coating, anything from that, and then to everything that we show in our budget from chip sealing to re-asphalting and that. So,
Okay, so what I'm hearing, council, is you wanna go out for bids. So what do you guys want to do with this one?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
I would move to deny the request and instead request this go out for bid in accordance with the city's purchasing policy.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCarthy?
aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
Councilman Workla?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Run down to approve consulting agreement with Trishel Bish Glena, number 12, Councilwoman Workla.
Thank you. So the reason why I wanted to pull this off the consent agenda is because I wanted to amend the agenda to add the appointment of 2 appointees to P&Z/Impact Fee Committee before we approve to go out with a contract consulting agreement with Official. I guess I want to ask other council members, do you think we're putting the cart before the horse on this one? If we don't even have our committee established yet?
Mayor,
Councilman McCarthy.
while I voted against the P&Z when reinstituting the resolution that made P&Z a DIFAC 1, Yeah, voted against it. Would like to see that at least that it's followed through with that motion that 2 individuals from those that had applied are put onto that before we get going with Tisler. I'm sure an argument will be made that we have to do this now. We're off on our growth rates and everything. But again, this is something that the emergency was, I don't want to see the excuse of an emergency be used for something that has been brought up for well over a few years now. So that I would like to see you go through with what was approved last time with the P&Z configuration for the.
So the reason I agreed, council, to this is for this agreement to get it going with Councilwoman's request. I'd like to see this agreement approved, as that was what I agreed to with Councilwoman Workla.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
what?
You said you wouldn't do this agreement if I didn't, you know what I mean? If I didn't put 2 people on the DIFAC.
Oh, you're holding my feet to the Gotcha. I haven't put 2 people on that yet.
Well,
So.
I will, in good faith, hold my end of the bargain if you held your end of the bargain.
Touche.
I'll take one stab at compromise here,
Okay.
but only one. I would be inclined to go ahead with this item with the provision that the work on this item does not commence until the other 2 members are seated and approved.
Motion.
Councilman,
That being said, to make sure that we have the follow through on that, I guess I would ask that why not table this agreement until next city council when we have the appointees come back for conference.
we're appointing them tonight.
By your hand to the pocket or the hat, boss? Hat, whatever you place the most.
No, it was an offer of compromise.
I don't have a
Mr.
problem with
Mayor.
you. I want to see the agreement going through so we can get the statistical data and stuff. I have no problem. I'm sure that the DIFAC will wholeheartedly work in conjunction with them anyway. So whether, obviously we agreed we put 2 on tonight, right? So that was I think that was our agreement.
Mr. Mayor, at the risk of offending folks here in the audience, I think those 2 seats deserve enough respect to go through a process that doesn't include someone's sweaty hat. No offense, Jake. So my motion is that this item be approved contingent upon the 2 additional members being seated and approved. We can authorize that start of this contract piece, but not have them start any work until we have a fully boarded combined P&Z.
So I will tell you this, what I will do is I will reach out to them. I'm not gonna, and then I'll have a conversation with them tomorrow and we'll get somebody on, as you're saying, the next council meeting, right? But I thought you wanted them on tonight.
Mayor,
Councilman Workla.
you're going to reach out to them tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. To all 5 that applied.
But Tiff, you're gonna say something witty.
It's not witty. It might be a compromise. I'm with Councilman Sanders on the far end here. I guess Councilwoman Workla and I think one other member said they talked to John Cristobal today.
Mm-hmm.
Is he willing to sit on the P&Z? Did you affirm that?
So the conversation was, which I did disclose in my declaration, right?
Yeah.
Was that he said, I'm still waiting for the phone call from the city. He's fully up to date on how it was dissolved and then it was rejoined back together, right? And so the conversation went, I am still waiting for that phone call from the city to see if I'm one of the two that are going to be picked, right? And then he checked with Mr. Green, and he said he hadn't heard from the city as well. So that's where I got the notion that no one has been, or at least those two, have been contacted to see if they wanted to sit on there.
So again, did John Cristobal allude that he would still be interested to serve in the capacity of planning and zoning and IFAC?
Yeah.
Do you know that? It appears that maybe a message was sent. I guess I'm poking at John Cristobal because he also sits on the county impact, and our legal team has highly suggested and recommended he serve on the committee. So I'm not in your chair, and I nor never want to be. I respect every one of you. I would make a motion that you appoint him this evening and the mayor call and offer it to him. And that gets one of your two has some clout. I'm just throwing it out there. Like if I was in your chair, Councilman Sanders, that's what I would do, and you're giggling at me.
Yeah, but I got a point on.
However, she said she'd rather sit in an
I'd rather
elected
sit
chair.
in this one.
Mayor,
Councilman Harjo.
in the proper manner and flow of things, we have not, and I fully understand the desire to get names assigned to seats today, but we did not have this on the agenda. It was not
Well, it is now.
publicly noticed. I get what you're trying to accomplish, and it's shoehorning into a decision today. I as well wish it was on the agenda. Full stop. We've got like a circus show happening at this council meeting today already. And I think appointing somebody without having contacted them is just adding
Okay.
to the unnecessary for this evening.
So Councilwoman Workla,
Yeah.
I promise
Okay.
to reach out tomorrow.
Okay, and I want to ask council, are you comfortable with us waiting 2 more weeks for them to be appointed and then voted on at the next city council meeting? Or would you like to have a special meeting so we can get the ball rolling before the next P&Z meeting next week?
Councilman McCarthy, I'm sorry. I want to call you Councilman Brennan. I'm sorry.
I would be open to next city council meeting or a special city council meeting so that we have the follow through of what was again on last time.
Okay, so actually, now we're getting into the weeds. So we're going to go back to item number 12.
Mayor, as a staff member, I do not think that Tish Lindbergh is going to start work between now and the 26th. So if the agreement needs to go on the 26th agenda with the appointees, I think that is just fine on the staff level.
Actually, you know what, Council? I'll just table this agreement until the next meeting. Sorry. Okay, last one. 16, Councilman Sanders.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Council members, I just wanted to express first my appreciation to Mr. Curtis. I had some questions looking over the expenditures budget for the period ending 30 April. And I had a question about how a negative balance was going to be addressed. He provided that back to me. I think other council members may have received it. But along that same line, one of the challenges they were having with it being over had to do with the need to purchase additional bandwidth for the current LID. My question to him was, if we go to an LID2 and we sign up, say, another 300 subscribers, promising each one of them up to 1 gigabyte of service, and we're only right now drawing down about 30 gig, how in the world are we going to be, what's going to be the projected cost to us on our subscription for that level of bandwidth? And he provided an answer for us. So on this particular one, as we're going to take action on it here in a moment, I just wanted to plant that seed in the council members' minds that capacity, when you have a subscription-based service for the bandwidth, will be a variable for the budget we will have to address on a routine basis. And the more subscribers we have, the greater that variance may become. It will bear close watching. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I step aside.
And council, that was one of the things is when we started this, we didn't know quintessentially as council centers, the bandwidth. I know Chris and his team are currently looking in the bandwidth and where's it going, because we had talked to Iron about it specifically, and they're just like, do you have a leak? Not a leak, I guess that's not a good choice of words, but do you have somewhere that's taking up a lot of bandwidth and not getting the same bang for the buck? And so Chris and his team currently are looking into like the multi-unit tenants, even though they have one line. Or is it that, or is it, other facets of the whole thing? So clarification on that.
Mayor.
Oh,
Council, who wants to go first? Councilwoman Workler.
yeah, Chris, thanks for the memo. So it said that it is overdrawn by $5,385. Where is that going to be covered from?
Out of the line. Hold me to the number because I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Of 44,000. We won't get anywhere near touching that this year.
Okay. So it's still staying within fiber. Okay. So, Paul. So he says fiber will always pay for fiber, but one of the concerns I have or questions I have is there's 3 different pockets of fiber, right? There's fiber for new builds, there's fiber for city-owned fiber, and then there's fiber for LED one. Okay,